And welcome back to Meet the Leaders. I'm your host, Terrence Mikas. My guest, Town of Hyde Park Supervisor Tom Martino, has been in that role for a year and a half. And of course, as we've been talking about, if you just joined us, it's been a tough year and a half, but you've kept the taxes down. You've gotten the house, Hyde Park's house in fiscal order. Because most people just feel if you got the deficit down and you're keeping the taxes down and you're keeping the services up, we don't care about the fights in the party. But there have been some contention. I remember during the police the police chief positions and things like that going to part-time and full-time. There was a lot of ruckus about that. Has that settled down? How's Chief Charlie Breaux, doing? I know that he works with our news and, is committed to, caring for the people of any municipality he's been the police chief of. But what's your take on all this now, a year down the line?
A year down the line, the contentiousness, the demonstrations that were anti-board, they were all based on half-truths and total falsehoods. Where are we now? We're light years from where we were at that particular time. Back in February of 2010, I'll be the first to admit it, the police department was in a state of crisis. We brought Charlie Breaux in. I felt that Charlie Breaux was the right pick, along with the rest of the board. Charlie Breaux has taken the police department and he has really, I shouldn't say whipped them into shape, but now they have an esprit de corps. They're highly professional. I get along great with all of the police officers. They know exactly where I'm coming from. I'd also like to say that we negotiated a contract with them.
Are they happy about it?
All parties are happy about it, and it was done in the shortest period of time in recent memory. So I respect and I admire these people. I have always been pro-police.
So what do you say then, because this is the kind of thing I'm always looking at here from this. People in the towns, villages, cities, they just want things working. And oftentimes, and this is not just in Hyde Park here, I'm talking about, someone will come along and say, I don't like this guy or that guy. I want to become the supervisor. I want to knock this person out of office because I want to knock him out of office. And I've had good relationships, professionally with most of the people the supervisors in the town of Hyde Park. They all worked hard, trying to do things, different strengths and weaknesses. But fiscal things are really important right now, and you're keeping those things intact. So the town of Hyde Park residents, so there's got this tough guy, because your demeanor, has been at question sometimes. You know that, right? I mean, people have said that you want to get things done, but you're not going to put up with anything. But you're keeping the ship running. The problem is that the people in the town of Hyde Park might vote you into office again. They probably would. I don't have any poll. But if you don't get the party nomination, you can't even run. I mean, unless you run independently. What's going on?
Well, that's a possibility. Anything's a possibility. Life goes on.
You don't seem worried about it.
Well, when you think about it, to put things in perspective, how important am I? I may think I'm important, but I really don't. If I go outside on a clear night when it's dark and I look up at the stars, am I really that important in the grand scheme of things? I'm only here to do a job, and while I'm here, I'm going to do that job, just like I told the people of Hyde Park I would, and I think we've been doing it. I'm going to get opposition. That's expected. But we have not done anything that we didn't say we were going to do.
Is that why you feel pretty confident instead of kind of catering to every little group that comes at you? You just kind do what you think you need to do because you're not beholden to have to get reelected? I mean, it's not like something that you're so desperate to have.
No, it's not something that I can't live without. I've been around the block a few times. There are things that are important to people or me outside the political arena. It's not the alpha and the omega of my life.
Yeah. So tell me some of the things that you did to keep, get finances in order. I know that you talked about the comptroller, you talked about the courts. You had mentioned in the pre-interview about the highway department. What went on there?
Well, there was an issue about procurement, and the highway superintendent was rather disturbed about the way my office was processing things. I prefer to look at that now. This is back in January, that it was just a unpleasant situation that we have now overcome, and we're going to put a new procurement policy in place.
But that's what I mean, putting better procedures in place is what every business has to do. It doesn't mean that the person's doing a bad job or good job, but sometimes you get used to things, and then you put them in.
You're right, and you just used the word business. You are running a business contrary to what some people may think. There is accountability.
It's people's business.
Right, it's the people's business. And that's what we do. I do it 5 days a week, and then the town board does it when we meet, and various board members come in and discuss issues with me.
So what happened? How'd you save money?
Saving money? Well, our budget is down from the previous year. We did have to go into our fund balance to the tune of approximately $400,000. Which was much less than what the previous administration had done, where they were going into fund balance at times of up to $1 million. But that money is there, and I want to make perfectly clear that it is not a rainy day fund. This is from overestimating
Mortgage tax?
revenues, things like that, or
sales.
underestimating, and this is what is left over. And the people of Hyde Park, they deserve relief. Because you have to remember, Terrence, we are in the most trying economy since the Great Depression. So the relief has to be there. And this is one of the things we did about a 0.9% tax levy increase.
What kind of feedback are you getting from people in Hyde Park, Mr. and Mrs. Front Porch, when you're walking around? What do they say to you? I mean, they've heard your reputation. A lot of people like you, don't like, I don't know. What do they say to you when they see you?
Well, you're going to get that no matter what. People say that they like the job that we're doing. We've gotten a lot of bad press, which I'm not going to say where it came from, but most people know.
No, where is it? Because I'm the press. You're telling me I don't want people to think. We try to be fair.
No, you've been great.
You try to be fair here. The Poughkeepsie Journal tries to be fair as most I know. But what are you talking? I mean, what?
Well, then there's a weekly.
Oh, you mean the paper in Hyde Park?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Which I perceive is really not a paper. It's just a published blog.
Okay, so you feel opinions come out of there a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's all it is. It's just an editorial blog.
Do people in Hyde Park pay attention to it and listen to it?
I don't think so. Because if you go to the newsstand, if there's 20 copies there, go back the next week, and maybe there's 19.
So, but yes, but then you just said you got bad press. So how does it?
At first we did. I think that
If no one's reading it, how are you getting bad
I think
press?
it's worn off now. The novelty of the bad press, how can you say we're doing a bad job when we're keeping taxes down? And we intend to keep taxes down.
Do you feel that there's any validity, to a newspaper person looking at it and saying maybe the way you do things, is not right? I mean, do you think that that's fair game?
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Freedom of the press, the framers of the Constitution made sure that that was there because they were supposed to be the watchdogs.
So that's good then.
It's good to a point that they report the news, not manufacture the news. That's where it becomes distorted.
So you feel that's the issue. But you feel people are basically saying you've done a good job.
I think so, because people want to know two things at the end of the day. What are my taxes, and how much are my electeds making?
When you look at Hyde Park, I mean, it's a tricky place because, I grew up in Hudson Valley, so I always like Hyde Park. There's a lot of nice things there. Battle always been is how do you get development in there along the Strip without, overdeveloping the beautiful landscape that it has, which people like.
Okay.
And one more thing, and also then you got this tourism strip, which a lot of people said that's the way to generate money. I know the prior supervisor, Mr. Delafield, was real big on trying to build tourism. But there has to be development also, and I know he pushed some of that, but where do you fall in all that? Address that whole thing, because I think Hyde Park, I believe, this is my opinion, it's still struggling with the balance on how to get that right.
And you're correct. What we have right now, we have a hotel project going in on the grounds of the Culinary. Now,
And that was started years back, right?
Well, yeah, but now it's actually moving forward. Now, I'd like to stress, this is not a pilot program. This is a program that will pay taxes. The ground that it's built on is owned by the culinary. The structure itself is owned by the hotel corporation, and they will pay taxes
To the town of Hyde Park.
to the town of Hyde Park and the various districts, the special districts. And they will be participating in what is called the 485B program under New York State Realty Law.
Which is?
Where they pay a graduated tax over a period of time.
Now, do you feel if you aren't reelected that these projects could fall apart? Or are they in place? I mean, is that
Well,
why you want to run, to see them come to?
I want to see these become a reality. The other issue is somebody on the other side who is interested in running for supervisor doesn't want any new development. She wants to fill the empty storefronts. I like to stress that you cannot tell somebody you have to go there. That's against the law. We have a new Dunkin' Donuts going up, and you couldn't say that derelict plaza, that's where you're going to go. If they said no new construction, that plaza never would have met the wrecking ball. Same thing with ShopRite or Stop and Shop going over to the Ames Plaza. They're not going into that store. They're going to demolish that building and build new. Now,
But that plaza needs some revitalization.
well, it certainly
it's a sore
does.
spot as people come into Hyde Park.
It certainly does. Now, going on that premise, no new construction would happen in Hyde Park. This is what the Democratic candidate wants.
No new construction.
No new construction. People say, fill up the empty storefronts. Well, the old Ames, that's an empty store. Who would want to move in there? It needs so much
Well,
work.
the infrastructure is
It's cheaper.
too bad. That's all.
Exactly. So new construction is needed. You also have to think at the jobs that it'll create. The mom and pops, they're great, but you get a large store like a Super Stop and Shop, you get the hotel, you get the construction workers coming in, the ancillary
Well,
services.
down in that area of Hyde Park, coming out of Poughkeepsie, is where all that bustle needs to be there.
That's correct. So we can't say we don't want any new construction.
Well, I can't
That's
respond to her.
counterproductive.
I can't respond to what she...
Well, I'm just making a
But
statement.
you're saying that development is key to Hyde Park, and you're
Most
pushing...
definitely, because the commercial tax base still needs to be broadened. It's still under 4%.
Yeah, that would take some burden off some of the taxpayers.
Right, and this will give tax relief to the residential homeowners, especially in this economy.
What other projects you have going development-wise?
There's a project that's going on up on 9G by the Moose Club.
Okay.
The developer has approximately $5 million in the ground in water and gas.
And would that project go through if you were not elected, in your opinion? I mean, is it something that's already in the works going? Is the train too...
It's in the works, but it's been in the works for approximately 8 years.
And you're pushing it forward, you feel?
Yes.
What about, we got about a minute here. Are you committed to the environment? Because a lot of people in Hyde Park are, and they want to make sure that the beauty of Hyde Park stays, especially when you get off the beaten roads.
Personally and professionally, yes. We just passed a forestry management law, which is in accordance with DEC guidelines. We do plan on passing a water resource law, which will also be in accordance with DEC guidelines. The water resource law that we repealed was quite a bit overreaching.
I have one last question real quick. You got to answer me real quick. If you run as an independent and the Republican Party wants to knock you out, that's your words, I haven't talked to them at this point about that, and they want to run and you have a Democratic candidate, Republican Party splits their candidates, the other candidate, Democrat, wins. You're all aware of that?
I'm fully aware of it.
Okay. So are you going to run an unindependent line is really my question.
Well, I'd like to.
You'd like to. You're saying that you would run an independent line if you didn't get it.
You're right.
Okay, I just want to know. Thank you for being a guest and always being forthright. Well,
And thank you for having me
you're
on.
welcome. I want to thank all of you for joining us. I'm Terrence Mikas. For everybody here at Meet the Leaders, as always, have a good night.